exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
We have great fans. I want to thank them for being here. So it's a great night for Nebraska.
The Nebraska Democratic Party is not going to have a sort of, burning bush moment where everything gets turned around in one election. That doesn't happen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the 12th day of September in the Lord's year 2025, and I'm still eating breakfast, so I apologize. This is Point Counterpoint, and I want to make it known up front that Dennis is one of the good guys.
Thanks.
Okay, please. There are people who are out there on the far left, or whatever you want to call it, that think what happened yesterday or 2 days ago to Charlie Kirk is okay. And we'll talk about that. But Dennis is not one of those guys. And I put that on Facebook, and I will say that up front on the show. So, Dorsey, good morning.
Good morning.
Larry, good morning.
Good morning.
And Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
So, gee, what topic will we talk about today? Let me see. Okay, Dorsey, I'm going to let you lead.
All right, so we're going to talk about the elephant in the room.
Yep.
All right, so I guess what my struggle is with this whole situation is that the people that I feel who tell us that they are the representation of people on that side of the aisle have already kicked it up to it's Trump's fault. And leadership comes from above and yada, 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 yada.
And by the way, that's not just your opinion. That is all over social media.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what happened and what makes me so crazy about this whole thing is that young man was shot for doing exactly what we're doing right now.
That's true.
Okay? And my resentment with this whole situation is that for the last 4 or 5 years, the other side of the aisle has not been interested in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion, of being even-handed on anything. It's their way or they punish you. They did it with COVID. They did it with those vaccine mandates. You don't comply, you're out. Whether we take away your way of living, your business, having your old people die alone because you can't go in and see them. There's never any middle ground with these folks. And I'm over it. I am over it. Now, there are good people on the other side of the aisle, like Dennis. I got no problems with those folks. We can sit down and we can have a conversation. But what Elizabeth Warren did, and they supposedly are your representatives, Dennis. So that's where the rage comes from. And I am done. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Dennis, I'll let you speak.
All right. It's just a tragedy, the shooting of Charlie Kirk. He was a very young man, only 31 years old, had a very promising future, had a young wife, 2 young kids. It's just a tragedy. And violence has no place in American society and American politics. Every American should denounce the shooting of Charlie Kirk unequivocally. We must have peaceful political dialogue. I think that's absolutely essential. And I think most people are good. Most Republicans, most Democrats are good. You have a handful of nuts on both sides that get a disproportionate amount of attention and cause a disproportionate amount of trouble. But I think most Republicans, most Democrats, and independents want to do the right thing. And what I've seen is across the board, Republicans, Democrats have denounced this violence. And all across the country, young Democrats and young Republicans are issuing joint statements denouncing the violence. So kudos to them.
I want to ask you a question on what you just said. Why do those people get all the coverage, do you think?
They generate clicks and they generate ratings. It's sensational. People like me or you, Mac, we're kind of boring, so we don't get much attention because we say intelligent, thoughtful things that don't generate much in the way of news. But here's the thing. Most Americans out there are not involved in this blame game over what happened to Mr. Kirk. They're leading their lives. They're working their jobs. They're sending their kids to school. They're going to the grocery store. Most Americans just want peace, unity, and healing from the country. They don't want some big partisan food fight over this tragic shooting of a young man. It's a terrible thing.
All right, I'm going to come to you, Dorsey, again. Larry, you hang on.
I'm hanging.
Why do you think that? Answer that same question.
What was it?
Well, why does the media grab all this stuff that's sensational and all they want to talk about is the murder of Charlie?
Well, first of all, it was done in the middle of the day in front of his family. Okay?
Yeah.
And as soon as it happened, and I have been on different sites, okay? I'm not making this up. One of them is called Blue Sky. And there are people on the other aisle, pages and pages and pages and pages, who have tens of thousands of clicks and likes. And they're doing skits about how great it is he's dead. And they are singing and they are dancing. That, I understand what you're saying, Dennis, okay? But you're not going down into actually your side of the house. You're not doing it because I am. And it's horrendous that these folks think that this is okay. So anyway, that's why they're getting all the attention.
Well, and let's take it right here to Nebraska. There was a business that was owned by a minority in North Platte that applauded
Correct.
the fact that Charlie was killed.
Correct.
And I've heard that that business is already shut down.
I don't know if it's shut down, but I do know they had to take down all of their pages on Facebook.
Yeah. So it's not just our imagination or from one source that this is going on.
That's my point.
Yeah. This is 30% of what's coming out. Dennis, you can
30% of what?
Well, 30% of the people out there are praising the fact that Charlie was killed.
I can't put a number on it. All I
There's no
know
way to
is
put a number on it.
yeah, and I'm not comfortable with doing that. And I want to circle back right to what I said at the beginning, is that there are people on the other side of the aisle who are wonderful people, love them to death. We happen to disagree on some things, but they actually know how I feel about this, and they called me and told me that they were sorry.
Good.
They did.
Good.
They did.
Good.
So,
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
And that's just something in society. But there are too many people, and I guess one is too many, but there are way more than that are talking about the fact that Charlie, I don't know what the word is, deserved what he got. He made his own bed. Now he's got a lie in it, literally. So I want to make, and again, I'm going to stress this several times during the show, Dennis is not one of them, okay? We would not have someone on this radio station that would think like some of those do. And that's why I always tell you, you're the perfect guy for this job.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your kind words.
Yeah, and I put it on Facebook.
Thank
I'm
you.
Sure you saw it.
and I've stuck up for you too.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, Larry, we're going to go to you, buddy. Larry over in Nevada, Nevada, Iowa.
I always get a lot of when we had entertainers in. I always got we were on Bob and Tom show a lot, and that was the subject of a lot of conversations. Nevada. But I have to tell everybody, Dennis, you're a good guy.
Well,
I mean, you are definitely in the right mindset on this. However, and that's not however to you. That's I stand by everything I just said. However, members of your party are not. We saw what the House did when one of the House
what
members
was with that.
One of the House members called for a prayer, and she was immediately talked over, yelled at. There were House members saying no, no, and all this. And I'm Dennis. I'm sorry, but those are the people that you support
And voted
Those are the-
for.
and voted for. But those are the people that you hold to be good Americans and good people. And it's obvious that in this case, not all of them. There were some that didn't do that. But I think we have to hold our own. If we're expected to hold our own responsible for their decisions and for their behavior, I think both sides have to do that. And I was really disappointed when they did that. The same as when Trump introduced that young man that wanted to be a Border Patrol agent or a law enforcement,
Right.
and the Democrats sat on their hands. They couldn't cheer a kid with cancer, and they do this with Charlie Kirk. And I think the optics for that are going to cost them in the long run.
Yeah, I don't think, and I know you want this, Dennis, but I don't think there's going to be a midterm sweep. Now, sweep is the operative word there. I don't think that every Republican is going to not get reelected, and every Democrat that runs against them, especially here in Nebraska, because we've had a couple Republicans step down and not run, same as in Iowa.
Right.
But I think this event will change some minds on that, what you call sweeping of a blue state.
Well, the Democrats are currently the favorites to take the House. They're projected to pick up 20 or 30 seats at the current time. I mean, that's subject to change. A lot can happen between now and next year. The Republicans will probably lose a couple seats in the Senate, but maintain a bare majority. I mean, this whole thing, tragic as it is, will be largely forgotten by next fall.
I doubt it.
It always comes down to the economy and a referendum on the in party in a midterm election. And I think that the Republicans are going to lose. Already there's been a series of 2025 elections. The Democrats are heavily outperforming what Harris did last year. We saw huge Democratic wins in Omaha and Wisconsin, and the Republicans are so concerned about the midterms, they didn't want Elsie Stefanik to give up her seat in the U.S. House in New York State because they're afraid they're going to lose her seat. And that's a seat that's been held in Republican hands for a very long time. And the fact the Republicans are doing this early gerrymandering in Texas and Missouri shows that they're worried about losing the House. Usually the gerrymandering occurs once every 10 years. This decision by the Republicans to do it early is very unusual, and I think reflects their concern. They think they're going to lose next year. I mean, here's the deal. Independent swing voters and soft Trump supporters are just unhappy, dissatisfied, and they're going to vote for the other guys just as a check and balance next year. And that's a normal pattern in American politics.
Do you think the murder or assassination of Charlie Kirk will change anybody's mind on that?
I don't think it will. I mean, there's so many things that are going to happen between now and next year. There'll be a new big issue that'll get everybody fired up next week, Mac. It's just the attention span of the voters, the American people, the media is pretty minimal, quite frankly.
Dorsey?
I think you are incorrect. Okay? There are a lot of people that I know personally, and Larry may speak to this as well, where we have prided ourselves on taking the higher road. We sucked it up for COVID. We were forgiving. We said that's just a chapter in our country that happened, and we're going to do what we need to do to be as cooperative and helpful and kind to one and each other as possible. What that gentleman did in espousing the stuff that side of the House believes in.
And we know that guy's name now. His name is Tyler Robinson.
Right.
And actually a friend of his and his father somehow, we'll get the rest of the story, somehow turned him in.
Yeah, they walked him in. They walked him in with a
Yeah,
with a pastor. Yes.
Right.
So But my point is that, I came in before the show and we all kind of giggled about it. But I told you I left my Christianity in the car this morning. And
Jesus is down there holding it for you.
well, it's starting to come back up the stairs. I can hear it coming.
Okay. All right.
But I got to tell you, I'm done, Dennis. I'm done listening to people who think it's okay to look me in the face and tell me that if I'm not voting for a certain person, I'm not black. I'm done with people telling me that if I don't take an experimental drug, I'm an idiot and I need to be put in a camp. I am done with people telling me that I have no heart and no soul when I am trying to make sure that people are okay and they're tearing my properties up and I can't get them out because the government says I can't. I am tired of having these conversations about applying for jobs. And if you can believe this, there are still people in Omaha and across the country that say if you do not take the COVID-19 shot, they are not going to hire you. I am tired of everybody threatening my life, literally, because I won't do what they feel is appropriate. I'm done. I am going to sit here and have conversations with you. I'm going to go and take you out for drinks when we can. We are going to have a wonderful relationship. But as soon as I hear anybody call me a fascist or anybody calls me a Nazi, we are going to have a very loud public discussion.
Now, they haven't released all the information on this gentleman, but one of the things that was apparently either engraved on a bullet.
The bullet in the gun, yeah.
He used the word fascist.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Larry, you're smarter than I am.
He's certainly smarter than I am.
Oh, come on, guys.
Define for me what a fascist is.
Well, fascist has been misused to an incredible extent.
Yes.
During World War II, the fascists were those who controlled the press, who controlled the thoughts, and would simply not allow alternate, thought processes. They were in control of the media and in control of everything. And of course, we do the exact opposite is true today, especially for Republicans, because we do not control the media in any sense of the word. And of course, in the case of Donald Trump, he's doing the exact opposite of what a fascist would do. He's not trying to get everything under a government control. He wants control to go back to the states. He wants control in the hands of the people, of the voters. And for them to use this, term fascist in the way they do is completely in disregard of what it meant to be, back in its original founding days. And
I believe it's intentional, because if you start saying that stuff about people, the folks on both sides will start to think, I am going to be a hero because I'm getting rid of somebody who is not a patriot and he's harming the people.
Yes. Dennis, I want to go back to you for just a moment on this. And I appreciate your enthusiasm and I appreciate your commitment, to what you do.
Yes.
And, that's to be applauded. However, what the Trump effect is really not being taken into consideration. In Donald Trump, you have a horse of a different color. You have a different breed of cat. When he was first running for president, every talking head, some conservative, some not, was saying he'll never be nominated. He'll never be nominated. And it's just repeated. Tom Hanks famously said, Trump will be president when monkeys fly out of, whatever. And then when he got nominated, they all said, he'll never be president. He'll never be president. He'll never be president. and lo and behold, he became the president. Once he was out and wanted to come back in, they did everything humanly possible. No man has ever been as persecuted as Donald Trump was for wanting to be president again. And then, of course, Biden won for whatever reasons, and Trump ran again. He'll never make it. He'll never be president. He'll never be president. Well, lo and behold, for only the second time in American history, in U.S. history, a president from his first term came back the following term after he was defeated. So I think liberals are doing it themselves an incredible disservice by ignoring the Trump effect. This is a man who nobody has ever faced before in an election like Donald Trump. He is an absolute oddity for politicians. The Republican Party didn't want him either. They never gave him a dime when he was running or campaigning in the first one, even after he was nominated. So I think that you're badly misreading the room on this case. Dorsey, I'm with you.
I'm going to let Dennis go now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trump has not repealed the political laws of gravity. Let's look at the history of this thing. He was elected president when he was the non-incumbent, when he was the out party. When he ran for re-election as president in 2020, he got beat. There's a pattern there. He only wins if he's the non-incumbent and the out party. And the Republicans also perform poorly on the ballot when Trump is not on the ballot. Trump has millions of supporters that will show up for him, but they won't show up for other Republicans when he's not on the ballot. There's a blue wave in 2018. In 2021, the Democrats won the 2 open Georgia Senate seats in January 2021. Trump was not on the ballot. 2022, a massive red wave was forecast, and the Democrats actually picked up a seat in the House, and the Republicans just picked up a handful of seats and strike that. The Democrats picked up a seat in the Senate in 2022, silly me, and the Republicans just picked up a handful of seats in the House, just got this bare majority. I mean, so it was a red trickle on the House side. So if Trump's not on the ballot, the Republicans perform poorly. If Trump is on the ballot and the out party, he does well. But if he's the in party, he gets beat. He's not repealed the political laws of gravity. The American people are very unhappy, very dissatisfied with what's going on in the country now, and they take it out on the in party. Trifectas usually only last about 2 years, and then they're gone.
Okay, now I want to just say something, if I can. It's not the American people. It's not all of the American people. It's less than half.
Well, I should have said the voters, Mac. I mean,
well, but it's
the American people are unhappy. I think right track, wrong track number, maybe 40% were on the right track, 60% say we're on the wrong track.
Okay.
I can look it up.
Yeah, whatever you want to say, the percentages, that's all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be more accurate.
But it's not all of America. It's not all America.
Yeah. I mean, Trump has his hardcore supporters. So I'll grant you that. 40% of the country are very loyal to Trump. There's no question.
Well, but I would ask you or tell you or whatever that it's what Trump is doing. It's not Trump. It's what he's doing. He closed the border. He's bringing in millions and millions of dollars in revenue. Yesterday, I saw a report that beef prices are up because of tariffs. The tariffs haven't gone into effect yet. Brazil, Canada, and Australia are the other 3 countries that we get our beef from. Those tariffs have not gone into effect yet. So the liberal media, or whatever term you want to use, they're not being honest with us. They're blaming the tariffs, and the tariffs haven't gone into effect yet.
And that's the story of the liberal media. I do not watch any of those, and I haven't for years, because they just look you in the face and lie, and then tell you that you're crazy because you don't believe them.
Yes.
Okay, Dennis, when you talk about denying gravity, barring outside factors, if you know what inertia is the movement of an object that will continue until it's obstructed or stopped or changed, acted upon by an outside source. Trump in 2020 had been acted upon by every possible outside source. He had a sham, 2 impeachment shams. He was investigated. The media was roasting him. The Democrats were lying about him right and left. They were going to court. They were prosecuting him for bogus crimes that no serious judge would ever consider. And you can't say in a vacuum this is how it works, because it was not in a vacuum. Even the intelligence community, the United States intelligence community, was involved in defrauding the public about who Trump was, and everything from the laptop to the Russian collusion. So you can't use that as a finite thing when you have an infinite number of factors acting across it. Once those had gotten cleared up and Trump went in for his second term, 77 million Americans said, we want him back. Okay. Yes, people may have made a mistake and put Joe Biden in office. However, how badly do you have to suck at your job to have the guy that you replaced replace you in the public eye again? So I'm sorry, I don't buy this. This is an out year. This is an in year, because you're using factors that have been acted upon by outside sources, and you're up against apparently a person that you simply don't understand.
And people are mad, Dennis. People are mad.
Well, people in the Trump base are mad. I understand that, but they're not a
No,
majority.
no. It's not just the Trump base.
Yeah, murder and assassination really isn't a line divided.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
it's,
right,
it's
right.
awful what
Right,
happened.
right.
Yeah, and I
It's
know you
awful.
know that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to be
And-
on the right
and-
track. I don't want to be misunderstood here.
Oh, no. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be misunderstood as well.
Right. Yeah, I just want to clarify.
But what you need to understand is that, like I said before, people on my side of the aisle who played nice for the last 4 years, we're done. We're done. And I really think you guys need to really read the room. And I think you really need to go and talk to people like me, because you're going to hear exactly what I've been saying. You're going to hear it. Where before we were just saying, well, it's the election cycle, and in 4 years we just have to live through it through 4 years.
Okay, so let's move to that topic for a minute. I'm going to
What?
go to all three of you.
I think Larry had something to say before. Larry, were you done?
No. I'm done. I think I've made my point as far as that goes.
oh,
So
we'll just let Matt carry on the conversation. He had
All
a
right.
thought.
So how does the assassination of Charlie Kirk change the political landscape that we're looking at? And I'll start with you, Dennis.
It's just too early to tell. I'm just seeing a polarized debate right now. I think you have some Republicans. I've seen them on Facebook and Twitter and places like that, trying to blame the entire Democratic Party for this horrible crime. And I just think that's
wrong.
painting with a broad brush. I would strongly disagree with that. And then here's what I'm seeing from Democrats that I know on Facebook. I'll just kind of tell you what they're kind of split. Probably half are like me. It's just terrible. It's awful. Violence is bad. And I'm not going to say anything ill about Charlie Kirk, even though I disagreed with him. I'm not going to go there. It's just so bad. But I have other Democratic friends that will say, we totally abhor violence, we totally condemn this act, but then they'll criticize some of the stands that Kirk took. But I don't see anybody like celebrating his death. I'm not seeing that.
you're talking
I'm
about
seeing,
it
I'm
in
not
the
seeing
public,
that,
right?
But let me clarify, Larry, from my Facebook friends. Now, I've seen posts that you guys have put up and other Republicans have put up showing a handful of crazies celebrating this horrific crime. Like I said earlier in the show, and I've said it before many times, I think most Republicans, Democrats, and independents are good people. It's just a handful of nuts are the problem.
So
That's my theory.
I
agree
have
with that.
seen way too many people on the left celebrating this.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the same internet you are.
But
Okay.
what percentage of Democrats are there really?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But
But they're loud.
yeah.
And the
Yes.
squeaky wheel gets the oil.
But I see Republicans blame the entire Democratic Party, but I'm not going to hold the entire Republican Party responsible for those ill-considered opinions. I'm not going to go there.
All right, Dorsey.
Let Larry go.
Okay, Larry, you're
Well,
next.
I was just going to say, this isn't, people think this is an American thing, and it's not. I just looked at an article. European Parliament snubs request for Charlie Kirk moment of silence after the assassination. So this is something that has got legs. It's all around the world, and there are people on both sides. But again, a European Parliament that snubs a request for a minute of silence for somebody that is popular worldwide, the optics on that are abhorrent. They're unbelievably bad, just as it was. And we never really got an answer about the American Congress that did the same thing. And I would like Dennis to be able to say, what they did in Congress, what they did at that moment was wrong, undeniably, unequivocally.
Well, and the thought that I have to add to that, and then I'm going to go to you, Dennis, is these are elected officials who are Democrats who did what they did in the House. We can't deny that. I mean, we all saw it. Johnson asked for a moment of silence for prayer for Charlie Kirk and those involved, and the Democrats booed him.
I wouldn't have done it. I certainly would have joined that. I certainly disagree with what they did there. But let's look at the big picture, the entire body of work. Just about every elected Democrat has condemned this crime, and Ilhan Omar, who's very far left, has condemned this heinous crime. So let's look at the entire body of work. What they did in the House was wrong. I agree. But nonetheless, let's not cherry pick the response. I mean, every prominent Democrat has said this killing was just horrific.
And that is not what I've heard.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what they do.
Go ahead, Darcy.
What they do is they say, yes, it was a bad thing, and they should not have done it. However, comma.
Yeah.
However,
The but.
comma.
Yes.
That's not an apology.
They qualify it.
Yeah, they qualify it. So, yeah, it's very insincere. I don't accept it as an apology, and I don't accept it as anything that they are truly sorry for. Because if, everybody knows on the planet that if you say, I'm sorry, however, I'm sorry, but, then it's not an apology. And so that's where I sit on it.
Yeah, and Dennis, I love you, and I appreciate you, and you're not one of those guys. But the people that were elected from your party booed him.
But that's not all that they did, though.
But they represent you.
Here's what they were booing was I wouldn't do it, okay? I disagreed with what
I know you would. I know you would.
But apparently they wanted a moment of prayer for some victims of the school shooting in Colorado that happened the same day as the assassination of Kirk, and they booed when Johnson would not allow that. So, I mean, I don't agree with the booing at all, but nonetheless, I'm saying look at the entire body work, the big picture. Every prominent Democrat has condemned the crime and is horrified by it, period, the end, and that's absolutely appropriate, condemning this awful crime.
Let's not use the word every.
Every prominent Democrat.
Everyone?
Every prominent Democrat. You see the word prominent. Now, this person in North Platte that put up the hateful remarks, that's not a prominent Democrat. That's an idiot.
Who do you consider prominent?
Elected officials.
Okay, so I can tell you what AOC said.
What did AOC say?
You ready?
Sure.
AOC said that it's unfortunate that happened. However, we need to make sure that we do something about the gun laws. And the Republicans have been in a situation of where they could have controlled this a long time ago and didn't. Larry, am I lying?
No, you're an absolute truther here.
Thank you.
I saw that too.
Well, let's look at the exact quote. I think it's appropriate to say we need to reform our gun laws in connection with some kind of crime.
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Well,
that would be like me saying, I have to get rid of my spoon, my fork, and my knife because I'm overweight, and it's their fault.
Well, here's the problem is that my Republican friends say that the people... Here I found it.
Okay.
AOC asked, are we going to do something about gun violence? A fair question. What's
No,
wrong
it's
with-
not.
Sure
No.
it is.
No, it's
Yeah, but
not.
That wasn't the question.
Oh my goodness, I'm
We should-
screaming.
We should talk about
I need
gun.
to stop.
We should talk about gun reform and safety. It's always an important issue.
But it's
Not-
not.
It's
Not
not.
as related to Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not a gun guy. I don't own one.
We don't.
I'm kinda scared of
We
them.
don't know if it's related yet or not. This guy could be a complete nut, and he. I mean,
Well,
too
we
many.
know he called him a fascist.
I mean,
We
here's
know that.
the
He
pro-
wrote it on the bullets.
The problem with our gun laws is that we allow crazy people to buy and keep guns. That is
Right.
the problem.
And how do we stop that?
Well, we have to tighten up the background check system. Larry and I have had a debate about it. No common ground, but good faith, interesting debate. Anywhere from 20 to 40% of the guns are bought without a background check. We
All
need
right,
to tighten
so
that up.
if we're going to go down that road, what do you think we ought to do about the gentleman who stabbed that little girl to death? That wasn't a gun. What are we going to do about that?
Well,
Take away everybody's knives because we got some Lulu.
well, I don't. I just disagree respectfully with the slippery slope argument. We shouldn't allow crazy people to.
We
Yeah.
don't allow
But
crazy
you
people.
guys, you guys run down that slippery slope.
Yes, you do.
When you say we need gun control after this, come on, buddy, that's the slippery
You should
slope.
not
I
even.
think that's a fair question to bring up a legitimate issue. There's
It
nothing
sounds
wrong with
like
that.
it's shape
She
shifting.
said nothing negative about Kirk. She wanted to talk about gun safety reform. I think it's a fair
It was in an
game.
inappropriate time to bring that up. The only thing that she should have said, and anybody on your side of the house should say, I'm sorry that that happened. That gentleman has been espousing our belief system. We disagree with the way that he carried that out. Full stop, period. I don't want to hear however, comma. I don't want to hear however, but. That's the only thing that should be coming out of your mouth. This man died doing exactly what we are doing on this show right now because of the stuff that your people have been putting out there by calling us the weirdos.
I mean,
Yeah,
when
I
do we
think it
just
needs-
when do we discuss gun safety? We have shootings about every day in this country. If we have to put off until shootings stop, we'll never discuss gun safety. There's
Larry-
a lot of areas of common ground. Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
You're good. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
Jim.
and this is a hot subject. But Dennis, you asked earlier, well, how do we know this guy? What do we know about it? Well, we know that his father said that when they would have family dinners and such, that he would espouse why they hated Charlie Kirk and why they didn't like him, and they didn't like what he said or what he stood for. So we know what side of the aisle he's from.
We know he's
All
a
right.
bad dude, no question.
He absolutely is. So, that let's put that to bed. The other thing is, again, anytime an apology is appended with a however or a but, and Dennis, you know this because we do it in conversations all the time. Whatever that's done, that is we know that something else is coming. For her to take that moment, and she was asked about Charlie Kirk's shooting, and she had an opportunity to really make good optics out of it and say, look, this is a terrible thing. I don't think this is the time to discuss anything else at this moment in time. We need to give our sincere condolences to his family and to him, yada, 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 and go on. But she didn't do that. She changed what could have been an absolutely great optical moment to pushing an agenda.
Yep.
And so did Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
not
oh,
even
yeah.
talking about her because then I will have to go home.
No,
Yeah.
you're not allowed out of this room. I'm going to lock that door. But okay, so that's only two people. The point is, both of those people are elected officials that demonstrate what the Democratic Party thinks.
Yes.
And Dennis, that's the issue. The issue is that there are elected officials in the Democratic Party that say this is about gun control, not about politics.
Well, I mean, AOC condemned this awful crime, and I think it's a legitimate question to say.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I'll find it for you.
Well, did she say it, or are you just quoting her?
I just saw it a minute ago. Let me find it.
Okay, and I'm going back to the point of all of these folks have said, yes, there was a bad thing that happened. And then they comma, however, which negates everything that they said before the comma, however, in my opinion.
Well, and Dennis, I'm sure you would agree with that if it was the other side. If I said, let's say there was a Democratic person that was assassinated, and I said, well, that was a horrible thing, but this is what he said, this is what he did, this is how he acted, so it was okay to kill him.
Well,
That's what
AOC didn't say it was okay to kill him. You're creating a straw man.
She meant it.
No, she didn't. She called his.
Hold
she
on.
called
You
his
don't
killing.
know that.
No, you're reading way much too
okay.
into her. She said his assassination was tremendously disturbing.
Okay, then keep reading.
Wow.
Keep reading.
What else did she certainly
say?
condolences.
I'm just on. I'd have to do a bunch of Google searches. Here.
Okay,
I'm just on a
so
USA
it's
Today
out
article.
there. So if I tell you that's what she said,
Mac,
I'm on USA Today.
sorry.
take a breath.
Yeah.
We're all on the same side here.
I know.
Take
Yeah.
a breath.
I know.
We've
right.
all seen what she said. I mean, there's no question.
There's
You know,
nothing
we
wrong.
all watched the video.
She condemned the killing, and she wants to talk
And then
about
she
gun
went on to
safety.
talk about gun control.
So
Well, that's an
It's an
amendment in our
important issue.
Constitution to own guns. She wants to change the American way. That doesn't make her one of us.
It's not un-American to talk about gun safety reform. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed several restrictions on the use of guns. Every constitutional amendment is not an absolute freedom. There's limitations and exceptions to every freedom in the Constitution. That is Constitutional Law 101. If you look at the Heller decision of 2008, which created the right to own a gun, Justice Scalia, a Republican, a noted legal scholar, well-regarded, said that reasonable restrictions can be placed upon dangerous weapons. And, red flag laws have been found to be constitutional. Lower courts have found assault weapons bans to be constitutional. So,
And what does that have to do with the fact that some lunatic espousing your belief system walked up to somebody on a roof from 200 yards and shot him dead in front of his children and his wife? What does that have to do with that?
We don't have all the facts, but I think we should have a national conversation about guns and gun safety. I think there's
How about we have
ground.
How about we have a national conversation that you don't get to espouse that one group of people generally are part of a most hated group on the planet. How about we have that conversation? How about we say you can disagree, but you don't get to go on worldwide platforms and call people Nazis and fascists? How about we have that conversation?
Well, Republicans have called
Hitlers?
me that name several times, so it's inappropriate. Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
No, I don't know anybody that would refer to you as a Nazi or a
Me
fascist.
either.
Oh,
And they better not.
I was at a party last year. An old friend of mine called me a communist. I should clarify what I heard.
Oh, there's
Okay.
a difference, but and we can talk about the rights of that one way or the other. But the bottom line here is, we do have free speech, but we also know that free speech is limited to some things that
Yeah.
shouldn't be said.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact, and we've drifted off the point. We have people in your party, or in the party that represents you, that are using the murder of Charlie Kirk to push their agenda for gun control. Again, these people who were asked, how do you feel about this? Well, I think it's terrible. I could read that from a script. I think it's terrible. But, if we had fewer guns out there, we'd have fewer killings, which isn't necessarily true either.
Correct.
So, and obviously, unlike Mac, I am a gun user and a collector and have been all my life. I have multiple weapons. None of them in 60 plus years that I've been able to own weapons have ever misbehaved outside of my hands.
Yeah.
And, I think that it's just wrong-headed
Yes, it is.
and damaging to take something that is such a heated emotional subject and attempt to make hay with it.
Yeah, I thank you, Larry, and I think that's the point. And I don't understand. And when I say that, you can educate me, Dennis. I'm okay with that. Guns don't kill people.
Well, here's my point that I like to make is the Republicans say that the people are the problem, and that's partially correct. I would.
It's all the way correct.
I'm in partial agreement. Let me finish my point.
All right.
But the problem is the Republicans' gun laws allow the problem, the people, unsuitable people, to get guns and keep guns. I mean, your average mass shooter is some crazy person that legally obtained a gun. They should have been prevented from getting a gun in the first place.
But they passed all the background checks.
No, many
Yes,
of them
they
did not.
did.
They're no 20 to 40% of the guns are sold without a background check.
What
And
if
that's how
this
these crazies
Tyler
get 'em.
Robinson bought the gun legally,
Yeah,
just like you could do?
right.
I'd like to learn more about it before he absolves
I understand that,
I'm
but
asking-
we're asking you,
Yeah. What if he bought it legally?
which is the guy who killed the kids in Colorado,
Well,
or
if he's-
in
If he's a nutcase, he should have never been allowed to buy it in the first place.
All right,
Let's find
so-
out more.
All right, I agree with you.
I agree.
So how do we differentiate the nutcases from the people who are Americans whose
There we go.
constitutions say you can own a gun? How do we separate that? And I'll give you an example if you can. I'm on an antidepressant, and I have been for a lot of years. One of my fears is that the Democrats will say, well, if you're mentally ill, that means you have a antidepressant prescription. I'm scared to death that I'm going to get put in that arena because I have a mental condition that is no different than any other people other than I take a prescription.
But
So
you,
how are you going to determine
Well-
somebody who's mentally ill?
you could get a letter from your doctor saying that you're appropriate and can be trusted owning guns. It's a fairly simple process.
Okay.
Okay, when that happens,
Yeah.
Dennis, but they still go off and kill someone. You know, you're not. And here's by what yardstick do we measure somebody's worthiness to own a weapon? Is it by your opinion or my opinion? By what process can we set that to say that people are going to be fairly and equally evaluated, and who gets to make the rules?
Well, right now the Constitution makes the rules.
Right.
And there are people out there that want to change the Constitution. They don't want negative people, mentally ill people, whoever they want to call them, maybe Republicans, should not own guns.
I don't think that's kind of a straw man, I think.
All right,
with all
so
due
who
respect.
shouldn't own guns?
Crazy people shouldn't. Like there was a
What
mass, there's a mass,
constitutes crazy?
Yeah,
there was a mass shooting last month. God, there's so many of them I can't remember. This guy had been posting crazy, hateful stuff on YouTube for a month before he went out and shot up a bunch of people.
that was the
And there are
trans
red
guy.
That was the trans guy in Minnesota. He was posting hateful stuff
Yeah.
on the internet for months beforehand. And he still kept his guns. I mean, there should have
So
been a
why
red
didn't-
flag law intervention, have a court hearing, take away his guns. He's totally unsuitable. He has no business owning a gun. It's terrible.
So why wasn't the red flag rule engaged in that?
I don't know the facts, but I mean, I want responsible people to own guns, but I don't want nutcases to own them. Period.
Well,
The
we
end.
don't either.
But there are people who have the First Amendment and they give their opinion. Should those people be called mentally ill if you don't agree with them?
Right.
It depends on what they say.
This guy called Charlie Kirk a fascist. Is that okay?
It is under the First Amendment. He's still a bad
Okay,
dude. He's a
so he
criminal. I mean, he's an
okay,
awful human
okay,
being.
So he acted on the fact that he thinks that Charlie Kirk is a fascist. Should he have a gun?
I'd want to learn more about his background, but I would say probably not.
Okay. So what you're saying is that anybody who turns around, I'm asking.
We just
I'm-
don't have all the facts. I hate
No, no, let's talk
hypotheticals.
about-
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
what I
Dorothy.
want to know is that if I'm making this up, you called me a fascist, and I went out on Facebook and I posted things that you didn't feel was appropriate, do you think at that point I should be labeled as mentally unstable and I can't own a gun?
No, I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, if you read the background of these evildoers and these mass shootings, I mean, they are just like Fruit Loops. They're just out of their minds. It's just greatly different than anybody I know. It's just, I mean, you just read the stories and you're just horrified. Like, how in the heck did this guy get a dang gun?
And Dennis, you just told the truth. It's not about the gun, it's about the person.
Well, it's partially the people, absolutely.
No, Dennis, it's not partially.
It
It's-
is. It's complicated. It's multifactorial.
Larry, go ahead.
Well, we're all overlooking, we have recent experience with this regarding being a nation or even across the world. We had people during COVID that said, I'm not going to take the jab, and the government and people in general that were left in charge made rules that punished us for believing that.
Correct.
Some people wouldn't give you a job. Some people, and this was all deemed by the government or by the people that this is for the public good.
Right.
But people that disagreed with that, doctors, scientists, researchers that were called fringe, that were called quacks, that were badmouth, some lost their licenses to practice.
Yep.
Because somebody made a rule that if you don't agree with our definitions of COVID or with our definitions of vaccine, with our definitions of epidemic or pandemic, we're going to censor you in what you can say and do, and we're going to censure you in ways that could cost you your job, your living, and everything else. So we've seen the government's power and authority
Right.
in pushing an opinion above all others and calling everybody else quacks. And I'm really afraid, I'm really concerned that is less than a step away from the same thing of you're not qualified to have a weapon.
Correct. And I agree 110%.
I mean, the red flag laws require a court hearing. So, medical evidence would be presented. The gun owner could testify. Family members, others could testify. So,
But we have those laws.
Yes, we do.
You want to change the Constitution, Dennis?
No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you say that. The Constitution says I can own a gun.
I'm just telling you, the Constitution does say that. If you look at the Heller decision of 2008, I agree with the Heller decision. Take a look at it.
I agree with the
Very
Constitution.
interesting. Well, here's the thing:
It hasn't changed.
But no, that's not right. The Supreme Court tinkers with what the Constitution says in every term. The Constitution is full of very vague pronouncements, guarantees, rights, and the Supreme Court has to give details to that vague language.
Has
and that's
the
what they did in
Supreme
Heller
Court
case.
banned guns?
No.
Okay.
They banned handguns in the District of Columbia. No, strike that. Let me think about this case for a minute, Mac. 2008, the Heller decision. District of Columbia had banned handguns, and the Supreme Court threw out the handgun ban in the District of Columbia. That was the decision. However, they said that there reasonable restrictions could be placed on dangerous and unusual weapons. So,
but it's the people that we need to fix, not guns.
Well, we need to fix both.
How do you fix
What?
both? What do you mean? Go ahead, Larry.
Well, 40,000 deaths a year are attributed to automobile accidents. But nobody says you can't own a car. And this is something that, and I've asked people this before, that's because the car is good for us because we need it. So it's not a case all of a sudden of whether it's right or wrong, but of how much we need it, how much we value it.
Well,
And, I disagree with that premise.
Well, here's about cars. You have to license them. You have to pass a driver's test. You have to insure the car.
You have to do that now.
Why not do it with
guns?
guns?
You
Good.
do.
Are guns insured?
You
We
do.
Good. All right.
You
Excellent. I
do.
didn't know that. Good.
Yes.
They need to be insured for liability. I totally
No,
agree with
that's
No.
There should be
no.
liability coverage on guns. So if some idiot shoots up somebody, they should be able to sue the evildoer for money damages for their medical bills and
Well,
things.
quite
We
frankly,
should do
if they
that
shoot
anyhow.
up somebody,
You go to jail.
they're a criminal.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah.
therefore, the laws of being a criminal,
Kick in.
which is not owning a gun, it's what you do with it.
Well, I think there should be an insurance requirement for guns like they are for cars. I think that's a reasonable request.
Well, you can already hold people responsible. Ask O.J. Simpson. Okay, he wasn't criminally, but he was still civilly liable for the deaths of his wife and whoever the other guy was, Goldman. So that is still there regardless.
Most of the judgments were not paid. He was able to evade it. But the reason why people have insurance on cars is because most people don't have a bunch of money in the bank. If, God forbid, you injure somebody in a car wreck, the insurance company pays the victim's medical bills, pain and suffering, this kind of thing.
Well, except for misuse.
Yeah.
No insurance can cover you for neglect.
DUI.
No. Here's how insurance works in liability. I do this for many decades. It covers acts of negligence and it covers DUIs. It does not cover intentional acts. If I was like mad at Dorsey and ran her over deliberately in the parking lot out here, my insurance wouldn't cover it. If I was drunk and God forbid I ran her over, she could sue my sorry Fanny and the insurance company would have to pony up the money.
Right. But most people are not walking around with a gun looking to just shoot people. It's always an intentional act. So insurance would not cover it because it wasn't an intentional act.
Well, you could write the appropriate policy to cover it and price it.
Nah, I don't.
And price it. There we go. And price it.
All right, we've
We've gone
taken
over.
this rabbit trail way too far down.
Okay.
We've got 3 minutes left in this show today because we try to keep it under an hour. The point was somebody who said things that somebody didn't like was murdered. And the fact that he used a gun or a knife or a machete or whatever he used doesn't change the fact that what Charlie Kirk said, somebody killed him for.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
And we can't move from that position. And we will. I mean, God, MSNBC, this guy his body wasn't even cold yet. And a guy from MSNBC said something horrible, and he was fired because of what he said. So we obviously do have a standard in this country of what you can say about people and what you can't. He would tell you that the First Amendment allowed him to say that. Somebody would tell you that you could yell fire in a theater and the First Amendment said you can do that. Well, we know that's not true. There are things you cannot say. There are things you do with a gun that are wrong. But it's not the gun's decision. It's the person decision. Agreed?
Agreed.
Partial agreement.
Partial agreement.
That's fine. He can.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up for the day. Next week, I'd like to talk about, and I really want to hear your opinion on this, Janice. Not today, because we don't have time. The taking out that boat that supposedly had drug dealers and drugs on it.
Right. I read a little bit about it.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to have that conversation.
Okay.
And obviously, we need to talk about what's going on in the Middle East as well as Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
Guys, that's going to grow into something.
Well, it's already started.
Not good.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you listening today, we appreciate you listening. We thank you very much. The show is called Point Counterpoint Omaha, and we talk about the things that other people are talking about it, but we're nice about it. Today, when these microphones are off, we'll all joke and have fun and love each other. So thank you for Divine Truth Christian Store.
Divine Truth Christian Store, where you'll find more.